Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for subscribing, and let's dive a little deeper into jig fishing. We're in the time of year where this is winter jig fishing, but at any given warming trend, it could become pre-spawn and maybe even spawn jig fishing. So I want to maybe go a little further. Now, if you watch my video on finesse jigs, I'm all about this, and this is going to stay tied on basically up until the fish spawn. But we may have a big warming trend. I know last year in February, the water got up into the mid 60s for only like a week or two, but fish started spawning. It was crazy. I've only seen that maybe happen once in March, where you just have a couple days of 80-degree weather and that water temp just skyrockets, totally changing the fishing for the better for the most part. Now, this bait is not only cold water, it's high pressure, it's me just trying to get a bite, so it stays on my rod. Now, what I will do is I'll start mixing in a full-size jig. Now, this is a full-size jig with a lot of that skirt material cut off. Now, I'll take my fingers and just start popping that material off, and that's just gonna make that profile of that jig smaller. Now, here it is, same jig, and you can kind of see maybe that there's just a whole lot more skirt material on this one. It's going to give that bait a bigger profile, and this is my in-between right here. But these are the same size jig. They're both a 3/8 ounce, and this is going to be strictly for wood, that Arky style head. But when I'm changing, let's say the water warms up, it starts getting into the low to mid 50s. That's when I like to get away from that finesse jig predominantly and go to a full-size jig. I feel like the fish are feeding heavily. There's going to be times of the day where the bite is actually really good, so I don't necessarily need to have that smaller bait in my hand. I want to have something that's going to appeal to those bigger fish better. So my trailer system, I'm going to keep it as simple as I did with the finesse jig. I'm still going with a Super Chunk Junior because I do want compact, streamlined, smaller-esque baits this time of year with the colder water, just because the fishing isn't always consistent. You know, they might bite really good for 1 hour or maybe 1 or 2 days, and then it gets tough. I've seen that happen quite a bit. So you can't really judge a lake by how it fished last week or how it's been fishing on any given day in the spring. The fishing is always changing hour by hour, it seems. So I still like to stay pretty humble with my jig approach, and I like to keep a small trailer for that, so I will stay with the same trailer. And when I go to this Arky style jig, so that's still fairly small, fairly compact. As you can see, it's a little bit bigger, but not too much bigger than that finesse jig. But what I will see happen quite a bit this time of year when the fish are moving shallow is they will start keying in on wood. So this jig is all about wood. This one was a lot more versatile. I could throw this on bluff walls, fish it, drag it, do a lot of different things. Now, as these fish progress, we're getting into like lower to mid 50-degree water. Now I'm all about wood. I'm targeting wood. I'm targeting isolated wood. That's what fish want to set up. They want to own that cover, and you put a bait like a jig in front of them, you're going to get some of those bigger bites. So the jig fishing doesn't change much other than a little more of a profile, and then I'm switching from all places to strictly wood when that water gets into the low to mid 50s. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the water.